Part 3. The Bible's truth and Muhammad's false story on Moses. Moses was a Hebrew Jew. He was a friend of the Bible God, Lord of the Hebrews. Even today, Moses remains with Jesus alive in heaven. When Jesus walked on the earth, Moses came down from heaven and had consultations with him. This is recorded in the Bible. The God of the Hebrews did mighty works through the hands of Moses. God rescued the people of Israel using Moses. When Moses held out his rod, God split the Red Sea into two. When Moses died, God himself buried his body. This is only one instance, illustrative. A comparison of the Bible and Quran verses regarding Moses. The 7th century AD lie, 610 AD, Muhammad had named the Jew Moses as Musa and identified him as a Muslim Nabi, prophet in his Quran. Moses was a Jew who lived in Israel 2000 years before the birth of Muhammad. The story of Moses. He was truly a chosen man and a messenger and a prophet. No Muslim had asked that simple question, how is it possible? As no one has questioned the lie of Muhammad in the Quran, this lie remains a truth among all the Muslims till date. Muslims follow a lie. Surah 1951 and mentioned in the book, O Prophet, the story of Moses. He was truly a chosen man and was a messenger and a prophet. Surah 1084. And Musa said, O my people, if you have believed in Allah, then in him put your trust if you are obedient. Allah was created in 7th century AD and this was 1400 BC. The true history of Moses. He was a Jew born in the tribe of Levite, 1400 BC. Moses was a Jew who lived in Israel 2000 years before the birth of Muhammad. Levites were doing service of God at that time. Moses is a very important saint for the Jews even today. The Jews rejected Jesus, the Messiah, 2000 years ago, saying, You are his disciple, but we are Moses' disciple. We know that God spoke to Moses. As far as this fellow, we do not know where he is from. This we have seen. Despite the fact that Jesus was doing mighty signs and wonders among the Jews, they quoted the name of Moses and rejected Jesus, their true Messiah, because the mighty wonders God did through the hands of Moses were like that. Jesus healed a Jewish born blind person. To that healed blind person only the Jews gave the above statement. Jesus gave a fitting warning to the Jews. Do not think that I shall accuse you to the Father. There is one who accuses you, Moses, in whom you trust. For if you believed in Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. This is the warning from Jesus for everyone who opposes him and his gospel, falsely using the name of Moses. We have already read John 5:45 to 47. You cannot use the name of Abraham or Moses to discredit Jesus or to disobey Jesus. Jesus is God. You have to obey. Moses was a friend of God. God spoke to him face to face. He lived during the period 1400 BC. God chose him to lead the people of Israel to get them out of captivity of Egypt and its king Pharaoh. God showed his might before the king Pharaoh and rescued the people of Israel. This is written elaborately in the Christian Bible. How God chose Moses. Exodus 3:6. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from the land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Exodus 3:9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression which the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. This was the call given by God directly to Moses. He is a God like that only. He also called me in the same manner. He directly called me. God gave the law to the people of Israel through Moses. This is called the Moses law. God wrote Genesis, the first book of Bible himself, and gave it to Moses. God wrote four of the books through Moses: Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. Collectively, these five books are called the Moses Law or Torah. Allah fraudulently calls it Davrat. Leviticus 26:46. You should know the Davrat, whatever Muhammad calls it, or the Moses law, it was given by the Bible God Yahweh to the people of Israel. Leviticus 26:46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between himself and the children of Israel on the Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Leviticus 27:34. These are the commandments which the Lord commanded Moses for the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. Numbers 36:13. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded the children of Israel by the hand of Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. God wrote the 10 commandments for the use by the people of Israel and gave it to Moses. God also spoke the 10 commandments directly through an audible voice to the people of Israel. Exodus 24:12. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and be there, and I will give you tablets of stone and the law and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them." God himself wrote the commandments also. Exodus 31:18. And when he had made an end of speaking with him on Mount Sinai, he gave Moses 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone, written with the finger of God. Written with the finger of God. He himself wrote and gave. Deuteronomy 9:10. Then the Lord delivered to me 2 tablets of stone, written with the finger of God, and on them were all the words which the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. Day of the assembly. God spoke directly, and the people were so afraid. God gave testimony about Moses. Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark saying. And he sees the form of the Lord. God punished Moses, the sister of Moses, Miriam, for rebelling against Moses. We have seen the verses, but let us see at least verse 6 onwards. Let us see. After speaking, then he said, "Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you." What was the reason? Let us see from Numbers 12:1. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. So they said, "Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also?" And the Lord heard it, because the Lord never spoke through Aaron and Miriam. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, "Come out, you 3, to the tabernacle of meeting." So the 3 came out. Lord himself came out. Then the Lord came down in the pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. What is a tabernacle of meeting? Ask Muslim imams. They have cheated you. This is what God has given, Ark of the Covenant. And he said, "Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly and not in doxing. And he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?" So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned towards Miriam, and there she was, a leper. This is recorded in the Bible. God got annoyed, angry with Miriam and Aaron, and Miriam was punished. She was there for 7 days as leper, and then she was healed. The Bible, God made a covenant with Moses and fulfilled it in his lifetime. "Behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the work of the Lord. For it is an awesome thing that I will do with you." I will do an awesome thing with you. 34, Exodus 34:10. Very powerful words, because he is a very powerful God. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the work of the Lord, for it's an awesome thing that I will do with you. Awesome. Beautiful wording. Beautiful wording. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of people. He was very powerful, much respected. That is the reason why the Lord of the world, devil, had chosen to steal the history of Moses from the Bible, and he has called him a Muslim Nabi. That's the reason why he has used his name in 197 places. Next is Abraham, next Noah. So it's in this order. It is this order. He has also used the name of John the Baptist, Yahya. Exodus 11:3. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. God made him a great person. That's what this God does. When his servant obeys, he does it. Moses declared and God accomplished it. Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all the men with Korah, with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished from among the assembly. Numbers 16:28-35. Moses spoke, God accomplished. And Moses said, by this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. If these men die naturally like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord. Now it came to pass, as he finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all the men with Korah, with all their goods. This is the Bible God. This is the Bible God. Have you seen anything in the Quran like that? Quran has stolen the Bible and shown the Bible history as Muslim history. You have been cheated. Numbers 16:33. So they and all those with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished from among the assembly. Then all the Israel who were around them fled at their cry. For they said, let the earth swallow us up also. They were all afraid. Numbers 16:35. And a fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. So this is the God of Israel. God did amazing and powerful signs and wonders through Moses. The Bible says, since then there has not arisen in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. We have already seen these verses. Exodus 35, 34, 5 onwards, let us see. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab opposite Beth Peor, and no one knows his grave to this day. God buried his body. Let us understand that. So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face as he spoke to his friend. One can read in the Bible in Exodus chapter 5-14, the mighty miracles, signs and wonders done through the hands of Moses by God in the presence of King Pharaoh and in Egypt. 10 pestilences. In the 10th and the last pestilence given to Egypt, the firstborn of Pharaoh, to every citizen of Egypt, lost his firstborn. Egypt is a Muslim country even today. Egypt was an enemy of Moses and his Jewish people. Egypt was not a friend. Exodus 12:29. And it came to pass at midnight that the Lord struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. So Pharaoh rose in the night, he, all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. This is what God did it, God of Israel. God split the Red Sea and made a way through it for the people of Israel to cross. Moses raised his rod and the Red Sea parted. When Pharaoh and his army entered that way, God drowned and killed them all. Egypt today is a Muslim nation. Exodus 14:16. But lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I indeed will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. So I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gained honor for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the angel of the Lord, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from behind them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. Thus it was a cloud and darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near the other all that night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. So the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians. And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. Then the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians, on their chariots and on their horsemen. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and when the morning appeared, the sea returned to its full depth, while the Egyptians fleeing into it. So the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. Then the waters returned and covered the chariots and horsemen and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. One of them remained. All gone. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and to their left. So the children of Israel alone were protected. When Moses died, God buried him. He buried him in the valley in the land of Moab opposite Beth-peor, but no one knows his grave to this. In the whole Bible, Moses alone was buried by God. None had this special privilege from heaven as compared to Moses in this manner. Deuteronomy 34:5-6. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab according to the word of God, and he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab opposite to Beth-peor. No one knows his grave till this date. So this is about God burying the body of Moses. God himself buried it. Mystery of God revealed. The Bible tells us that when the archangel of God, Michael, was handling the body of Moses, the Lord of the world, the devil, had disputed about the body of Moses. Apparently, the Lord of the worlds, Allah, had attempted to steal the body of Moses and failed. This history is recorded in the Bible even 500 years before Muhammad was born. Jude 1:9. The book of Jude, verse 9. Yet Michael the archangel, in contending with the devil, when he disputed about the body of Moses, dared not bring against him a reviling accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." So here some mystery has been revealed to us. When Jesus walked on earth, Moses appeared in the prayer along with Jesus. In other words, Moses is alive and has been with God even today serving him. Jesus is God. Matthew 17:1. Now, after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like a sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with them. Now, Moses was so, and behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with them. They have seen Moses and Elijah talking to Jesus. Yes, Moses is alive, Elijah is alive.